They have probably gunned down a few mutants in the streets. Right, we've seen that happen. We do not know. Zaius is not, as we know.
As far as we know, they don't know about the mutants at all. Yeah, they just know about humans.
And Ursus don't know about it. So Zaius' reaction to these busts kind of makes sense, but it would be so just lovely to have a moment where Zaius talks about what he's seeing and what he's encountering and where he's at and how he feels and how it's, more than just obscene, that it's a travesty, that it's a mockery, that it's just. I would love to have Zaius just have a moment as he descends in the city to talk about what he sees.
And the unfortunate thing goes back to, and we're going to have to reiterate again that this film was very rushed into production. They don't know what they want to say. They're more than anything, it's a cash grab. It flatly is. And I want to introduce now because Sean turned me on to it, what Dana Gould said when he broke down Beneath the Planet of the Apes, that one of the great things about this, when you really think about how this film, where it's going and what's going to end on, we had already said that Heston wanted to end it with him dying. We talked about it the first when we started this, that apparently he pitched that to...
He wanted to die in the first scene. They said, no, hang on, wait.
What if we bookended? What if we let you disappear at the first, you come back at the end, you die? And he went, okay, I'll do that. And then Heston comes up with the idea about the bomb and it being the big thing. And you begin to see that desire by Heston to have this annihilation of everything begins to permeate into all this, because
we walk in and we see the female telepath dead in what looks like a big old tub or something like that.
Right.
So everything's starting to fall apart. People are dying all over the place.
And a fun thing, just to tell you this, Richard, so you know, apparently he asked, Daryl is the daddy, Richard is the son. He asked Richard Zanuck, can we do this horrible apocalyptic ending?
In the movie.
And initially said, no, you can't do that to the people. You can't do it. Well, then Daryl fired his son, Richard, and in a last-ditch effort before he left, he called Heston and said, hey, do your apocalyptic ending. So this, according to that, makes me think this was almost tacked on at the end. And so I wonder if the rushness of this, even some of those scenes aren't added in. And that's why we get almost this chaotic nature of where we're going now.
Collapsing.
Because we have 6 minutes, 5 minutes left in this film?
We got 6 minutes, including this one.
We have Serling's script.
Or 7 minutes.
For the first movie. I need to go find what Dane said about this movie. I need to find what he wanted to do.
I would love to know what Dane wanted to do.
I'm sure that's an interview or something somewhere where he talked about what his original idea was.
You would hope, but also the studios controlled a ton of that at the time. They may not have allowed him to talk.
I mean, even later in life, we have to go find this.
Please do.
So the scene, we're 30 seconds in. Zaius says they're obscene. The script direction, and this kind of largely follows. He knocks Mendez 1 off its plinth, and as it shatters on the floor, proceeds similarly to destroy Mendez 2, and so on down the entire line of busts, until he finally topples the last Mendez. As it too smashes, we hear from below, and we didn't actually hear this, the sudden muffled but agonized cry of a woman. We didn't get that.
Oh, is that supposed to be her dying in the tub or whatever?
Right. What we do get Zaius walking through very familiar doors, the ones that Brent came into to talk
subway
to the
doors
council.
Or whatever, yeah.
Right, the doors. He kind of peers through, and then he sees, it looks like a couch or a tub or a bench or something. We see a woman kind of casually slumped over it with one hand out.
In repose.
So I want to go back to the Hall of Bus real quick. Yeah. I thought one thing that is, I always find more interesting when a powerful character like Zaius does not feel the need to lower himself to do the work of destroying the bust. I thought, maybe the first one when he says, whatever this is an abomination, whatever you wanted.
Obscene.
Yeah, and you wanted to add in a line. Yeah. We cut to his face, and he says it, and he could push that bust off, and cut to it shattering on the floor.
And then had the other gorilla soldiers.
And then look and say, Sergeant, destroy them all. And he's he should have been the one to walk. They neuter all of his power again and again and again. He should not. Yes, they're obscene, But he should be the one giving commands.
Well, that moment, I mean, I appreciate Dane for putting Zaius in the scene because he hasn't been around for so much, but this would almost be more of an Ursus movement. This would be something Ursus
That's
Yeah, I
very
can
true.
see that, yeah.
That's very true.
This is obscene, and then start smashing things. That's very Ursus,
And
not
then,
Zaius.
okay, and then you could even have that where Zaius sees that and he's almost like, oh, God, we don't need to be wasting time busting things. He walks down the hall and then he finds Albino.
And you
it's
can
just
see
very
where-
weird, symmetrical that
If
it's like this mass of people bust it and then they go into the
And
room.
if somehow you had included Cornelius in the scene, if they had brought him in with the army, you could see him fighting. No, these are priceless artifacts. Why are you doing this? And they're shoving him off. No, these are abominations.
It's always good to have a countering point of view in a character.
Yeah. So we're 40 seconds in. The familiar doors open up. We've got the wall that they've used to project stuff off. It's the same area where Mendez and Caspe were earlier watching the guerrilla soldiers come through the city up above, I'm sure, but we don't ever catch a shot of it. Should be the kind of the stairwell that the leaders were originally on. And then there's just kind of a lifeless body.
So did she drag this big tub into this new area, in the same area, just to die into it?
Is it a tub or is it a pew?
Well,
No, it's a bench.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
bench.
All right. It looks, because of the rim of it, it looks very
Right,
tubbish.
I mean, it's not a pew. It's some type of bench that she's seated on.
I'd literally forgotten whether she slit her wrist or took poison. As I
Well,
watched
you'll
this
find out in the next minute.
Well,
I mean, yeah, technically it's the next minute where we find out exactly
Right.
what she did. But she's approached by one side from a guerrilla soldier, and Zaius walks over and looks at her, and they kind of march around her. Now, at this point, the thing is, unless Zaius hadn't seen an actual mutant yet, they should not be surprised by
By a
seeing
human, yeah.
a human.
Maybe
Right?
he's just surprised by the way she's dressed, and she's got blonde hair,
I was
and
going to
she's
say
clean.
blonde hair, clean, and she's wearing clothing that,
Yeah.
that isn't ill fit and doesn't look like an animal top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the description is Albina sprawled in a chair before the wall screen, her hand outstretched. And again, I can't mention the next little bit because it's
Yeah.
technically part of the next minute.
We'll find out then.
Zaius reaches down in the last second. He kind of grazes her hand. And then goes to the ground itself, right below where her hand
Right.
is.
And she's wearing compression gloves.
Well, she's wearing the same glove. They all wear the same
I know.
gloves, right? They're supposed to be. They're not exposing their inmost selves.
I kind of like the compression stuff. I mean, that goes back to I wish that instead of wearing the beautiful pullover masks they have for human faces, I wish they'd just been scarred all along and wearing hoods to cover that.
There's something that I really want to talk about with what is happening, but I feel like the reveal is the next minute more than this one, even though it's very
Okay.
obvious from what happened. I mean, to me, it's very obvious what's happened.
Yeah.
But the next minute is really rare if we can talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you expecting her to Dr. Zaius to look over and reach down and her to wake up and go, "Oh, what are you guys doing here? Oh my
Oh
goodness!
my goodness!
I overslept. What's going on, guys?
Exactly.
I am not presentable. Oh
I haven't put my. Wait, I do have my face on. Never mind.
Okay. Since Richard wants to jump ahead, let's call
Let's
that
get
one.
to it.
Do you have anything else you want to mention? We
That's it
we
for
broke
me.
down some busts.
I
We got Taylor excited about moving on again, even though Nova just
Did we
died.
get Taylor
Well,
excited?
Come on.
Well, he just
Come
wants to
on.
burn the world. He Taylor is a joker. Some people just don't see the world burn, man.
Well, I guess so.
There you
Then
go.
let's go see the world burn.
All
We're
right.
going to call that a minute, and we will move on, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Beneath the minute of the apes. Beneath the minute of the apes. Beneath the minute of the apes.
The only good human is a dead human.